This is the first time I've ever told a story on any platform. I'm selling crack cocaine at the age of 12, handling guns by the age of 16, 17. But I hurt my family. I hurt a lot of people. I remember my wife, man, she was my girlfriend at the time, got into this car accident. She survived this car accident. She comes back to the apartment. She lifts her hand. She starts worshiping. That's the first time I've heard gospel music, bro. Crawl into a bathroom with my hands and knees. And I'm watching her lift her hands and she's praising God, thinking to myself, like, whatever that is right there, man, I want that, baby.
All right, guys, we're about to react to another video by Lecrae and this very, very, I'd say, famous pastor. His name is Philip Anthony Mitchell. He's very profound, very edifying, amazing speaker, preacher. He's very passionate guy. I think he's great, but we're gonna lock in on some of his stories, some of his shortcomings, some of his failures, his success, all that stuff happening, guys. So please like, comment, share, subscribe, catch the wave. It's a vibe, guys. You guys killed it last week. I got more views than I ever had before. So thanks to y'all for watching. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. I was a skeptic. Seen the clips online and the hype and the blah blah. My brain instantly went to, is something ain't right with this.
Whatever's happening for us right now, people talk like all of this just happened overnight. I've been pastoring for 12 years, but it's only now in the 12th year that anybody know I exist.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I ain't seen 12 years of tears. You ain't see 12 years of betrayals. Can we keep it real?
Keep it a stack.
Preaching with depression, feeling suicidal, wanting to quit. Nobody ain't seen that dark time. You just see mountaintops. I get frustrated with people that's always pointing at the devil and blaming the devil for all the mess in the church. Does the devil have inroads in the church? Yes. But Craig, the greatest threat to the American church is the American pulpit, B.
Some people may say it's self-righteous to say that these pastors are doing it wrong, because what it implies is that you're the only one doing it right. How would you address that?
My preaching sometimes is misinterpreted for talking down to pastors. It's not me talking down to pastors. My heart, Craig, dang, bro, I'm about to cry.
You good, man. You good, man.
My bad, bro.
You good, fam. Don't apologize.
My heart, bro, is not to talk down to them, bro. My heart is to...
This is the deep end.
Yo, I know what I just admire about these big, these big time podcasts and all these things and these famous people and these singers and rappers and all this stuff. Yo, their production level is just insane. Like, that's my goal, guys. Like, yes, I'm a one-man team. It's only me. But yo, the production level they have, man, is it's just insane, bro. It's so good. It's so good. But yo, fire start, man. Fire start. I think it's true. I mean, people don't see the work that goes into it. People don't see the years of you grinding, the years of you going hard, the years of you doing your best to just, grind. All they see is the success in the pulpit and the speaking and the numbers and the money, all these. That's cool, but they don't really see like the grind. Like bro, in 10 years, no one gonna see this. Like, I've been grinding, bro. I'm grinding right now. Like, I'm doing my best to grow, to get better. But they're gonna see the success, not the tears, not the wanting to quit, not the doubt. So that's a very, very relatable quote he just said, man. Like, seeing 12 years of just, failure and doubt and depression, but now he's popping off because people are finally seeing him. They're seeing what God's doing in him. But it's true. No one cares about. They don't see the work, man. They don't see the work. It's crazy, but it's true. Crazy but true. So yeah, little fire start to the pod. This is a dope start. I love it.
Listen, y'all. It was a matter of time. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people have probably wanted me to do this, wanted me to have this conversation, but I'm not for the showboating. I'm not for putting people on the platform because they pop and are popular. I've gotten to know this brother when there's no cameras on.
Come on.
I've gotten to pray with this brother when it was just a small room. Come on. So I've gotten to see him in real life. Now, there's going to be lots of speculation and lots of opinions and lots of perspectives. But we gonna talk about it, and we gonna, because we don't have any perfect people on the platform. We just got people who are being perfected. You know what I'm saying? But man, one of the fastest growing churches in the city, probably the fastest growing church in the city of Atlanta, one of the fastest growing churches in the country, one of the most scrutinized, but at the same time heralded communicators of God's word right now, and just, man, doing an incredible job of sticking to the scriptures when a lot of people are not doing that. But we're gonna talk about it all today. I got my brother Philip Mitchell, aka Pastor Philip.
Sorry, but yo, low key, it's true. Not everyone nowadays preaches the Bible. Like, the actual words, the scriptures, the Bible, what was actually said. People sometimes like to fabricate and make up their own little twists on what they think it's interpreted. Yes, we can interpret things ourselves, and we grow in wisdom and all that stuff that God gives us. But sometimes it takes a little bit of a sharp turn left from the, oh, okay, like, that's not biblical. Like, that's your opinion. That's not what the Bible is saying. So it's true. I do agree. Like, watching him preach and seeing him preach, this pastor here, he definitely has preached the gospel. He preaches the word from what I've seen. I don't know him, very well, obviously, but from what I've heard and seen, he preaches the word and the truth and what God's word is actually trying to say. So yeah, I think it's dope.
Mitchell 2819.
Come on,
man.
my brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Glad to be here, bro.
Absolutely. So
it's always a vibe when we come together, bro.
Facts.
Yeah, it's always
facts.
a vibe. Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep it a stack.
Yeah.
I want to get your story and I want to understand everything about you, right? But when we initially met, I told you the truth when I went to visit the church, right? I was a skeptic.
Yeah.
Right? Because I seen the clips online and the hype and the blah, blah. And I think I just been in the Christian circle for so long, my brain instantly went to, it's something ain't right with this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Being a Berean.
You know what I mean? Something ain't right. So instead of casting judgment from afar, I said, I'm going to go check it out. So I went to the service. I'm sitting in there like this, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, all I hear is clips online and him talking loud and being aggressive, but I ain't heard the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And then I was sitting in there, man, you open up the text. I'm like, And I'm like, And then I'm like, I know I'm not about to cry. Am I crying? Am I I'm in tears. And man, I saw God using a broken individual to reach a generation of broken individuals.
Yeah, man.
And it wasn't a lot of frills. It wasn't a lot of anything other than unadulterated truth.
Yeah.
But that comes with some backstory.
Bro.
There's a reason why this man is up there wearing all black every time. Yeah. A reason why you aggressive. You just like, yo, this is what it is.
See, I love that. I love that Philip Anthony Mitchell is himself, one. And you might see other preachers get up on a pulpit or a stage and try to be all cool and dress all extravagant and show off their money that they've made through ministry and all these things. And look at me, I'm a pastor. I'm on this big stage. I got this money. I got all this stuff and the lights and the clothes. But he shows up from what I've seen, again, vouching for this, he's shown up to every service. When he preaches, he's in all black, bro. All black, no crazy Jordans, no crazy whatever. Maybe a chain or two, maybe. And that isn't even like crazy, like that's like regular stuff. So to see a pastor on the stage not becoming like the stage, right? Like he's on the stage, but he's not becoming like the stage, is a very refreshing thing. And he's very passionate, and he's of color, man. It's dope seeing people of color, black people, you know what I'm saying, out here doing their thing, doing it in, from what we know so far, the right way, God's way, passionate, not showboaty, not whatever. He's doing his thing. He loves God. He's doing his thing. He's doing it God's way. And it's dope seeing humility in the church on the stage as well. So I think it's dope. I think it's very, very dope. Kudos to Pastor Mitchell, man, for that.
And I think if people don't know you, they don't know what molded this person. So, you know, talk a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up. Like who is, you know, Philip?
Yeah, man. So, appreciate you having me on. And even coming through that Sunday, you know what I'm saying, with your man. I think that was dope. We got a chance to chop it up in the back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my kids love your music. Been listening to your music forever, bro. But yeah, man, like, born and raised in Queens, New York. My parents were immigrants from the island of Trinidad. I was the first person in my family born in the U.S., and my mother was the one who led my father to the faith. You know what I'm saying? So I'm being raised in a home with Christian parents, but the urban environment I'm in, it has a pull on me. You know, I'm finding community outside of my crib. I'm finding community in gangs. I'm finding community in the streets. And so although I'm in the house and there is framework for God in the house, I see my parents reading the scriptures. I see them praying. My parents led a ministry in their basement. I think the pull of the urban environment I was in was far stronger than the influence in my house, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just out there in the streets, man. And a lot of people know the story, man. I'm selling crack cocaine at the age of 12, you know, handling guns by the age of 16, 17, get locked up a couple times, short stints, nothing long. And just it got to the point where my parents were just so concerned about the darkness that was in my life. Man, my mother said, look, we got to get you out of New York, you know, and up in North Carolina. When I get out there, I meet a group of New Yorkers that's far more ruthless than I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my 20s. These dudes are in their 30s and 40s, and I'm talking about these dudes are killers. You know, they packing guns. They moving weight up and down the East Coast, like far more ruthless than I am. And so 10 more years of that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Until I'm at a point in my life where I'm suicidal. I got all the trappings of success.
Bro, 10 years? 10 years. 10 years, bro. That's a long time. I don't care what no one says. Time does fly and time has wings and all that stuff, but yo, 10 years, bro, of doing that, 10 years being in bondage, 10 years being in you know, and doing these things that are obviously not of God, like, it's a long time, guys. And then it just shows how God can use anyone. God can and will and does use any person for his glory. 10 years, 20 years, whatever it may be that you're doing what you're doing. Like, God loved this man so much to use him so much out of his darkness, out of his situations. Yo, it's man, God is crazy, bro. God is so good. 10 years, golly. Even longer, 10 or more years probably, right? It's just insane. So
on the outside, I got a dope girlfriend, like, who ended up being my wife. Got the luxury car, the Q45. Remember back in the days when the Q45 was banging? You know, when lives was like, if I rule the world and everything in it, Christ the limit. I pushed the Q45 and fit. Remember that? Like, sky's the limit. So yeah, so I got the Q45, I got the apartment, all that. But I'm empty on the inside though, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like on the outside, I got the trappings of success, but on the inside, I'm mad empty, bro. And I remember my wife, man, she was my girlfriend at the time, got into this car accident. She survived this car accident. She comes back to the apartment, and she was raised around the things of God. And she had been converted to Christ, but had no discipleship. And my relationship with her pulled her far away from God. She comes home from that car accident, and it's like, faith is restored back to her. She goes in the room, she puts on gospel music, she lifts her hands, she starts worshiping. That's the first time I've heard gospel music, bro. And I'm watching her lift her hands and she's praising God. And I'm empty on the inside. I'm thinking to myself, like, whatever that is right there, man, I want that beat. So I crawl into a bathroom on my hands and knees and I start yelling at God. Like, to me, he was just a name in a book, not knowing that he existed. And God, he met me in that bathroom in a real and powerful way, bro. I would say I was converted in that bathroom, and what was like tears of frustration and emptiness turned into tears of joy. And I knew something had happened to me, because I remember that night I went out and I tried to have sex with my girlfriend at night, and for the first time I felt bad about my sin. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
Wow.
oh snap, this don't feel good.
So
It was
good,
for
bro.
the first time I had an awareness of sin. Started sleeping on the couch, man, and that's how my journey started. And I was walking with the Lord for about 2 years, 3 years, and then fell into a dark season, fell into sin. I hurt a lot of people in this season of my life. I hurt my family. I hurt a lot of people. And I thought God was done with me in the ministry, bro. I thought God was finished with me. You know, I'm like 2.5 years into the faith. And I'll never forget, I said to myself, I said, well, you know, I thought I was going to have a perfect walk. You know, I sinned against God. I hurt people. I caused trouble where I was at. And I said, you know what? And this is important because I never told the story. I said, I guess that's it then. I guess my walk with the Lord and me doing ministry is 2.5 years. It was good while it lasted. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm too much of an urban dude. I'm too broken on the inside. I got too much problems for the Lord to use somebody like me. So in my mind, Cray, I'm like, yo,
Hold up. So, man, I've come to know through my life, through the Bible, through people's lives, that God operates so heavily in like the even though. Like, even though this happened, he's still gonna make a way. Bro, he said this guy who's a pastor now, a thriving church, a thriving pastor, a thriving man of God. So we, you know, from what we see, married man, kids, thriving ministry, all these great things. He even thought, man, like, God, what can God do with me? It's just like, and God's like, bro, like, I'm God. Like, God can do anything with anyone he wants to do it with. It's just, so I don't want anyone to feel ever that where you're at right now is too much for God. Oh, he can't do it. No, he can do it, and he will do it if you trust him. If you give him your life, he'll do it. But yo, it's for him to say, man, like, I thought God was done with me. That's just, it's real. It's real life. It's real life. It's tough. It's difficult to even hear, man, like, I thought God was done with me, man, like, and he's now thriving in his purpose, but he almost gave up. It's crazy, bro. It's just so crazy.
The judgment call for God to say, I'm not usable. I'm done. And I'm just in a dark place, bro. This is the first time I've ever told a story on any platform. Like, I'm in a dark place for like 2.5 years.
Word. This in North Carolina?
This was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And then I was sent to Ohio. My wife and I were sent to Ohio to Bible college. And I'm in a dark place in my life for 2.5 years. I remember at the end of my time in Bible college, somebody came to me and it was like, yo, Brother Philip, that's what he just called me. Can you preach chapel for us? And I'm like, yeah, let me pray about that. And I prayed and I felt like, yeah, I'll do this. And I remember, man, fasting and praying and preaching that chapel. And the power of God fell in that chapel. Kids in Bible college who was not saved gave their life to Christ in that moment. It was like an outpouring of God's presence. And it was like I knew from that moment God was saying to me, I did not take my hand off of you.
Yeah.
And I've said this part from the pulpit. I felt like from that day forward, what God gave me was like a second chance, right? And this is important. I felt like God gave me a second chance in life, in ministry, a second chance with family, friends, marriage. And I made a commitment to myself that however long I'm going to live, how much breath I got in my lungs, I'm going to give God my everything with my second chance. So when people see me being aggressive, or they think I'm too radical, or they think I'm too fiery, or they think I'm too over the top, what they don't see is they have not seen my pain. They have not seen that dark season I was in. They have not seen the grace of God that pulled me out that dark season. They have not seen what mercy looks like in my life. So me knowing what God pulled me out of, I mean, knowing that he gave me a second chance, bro, like, that's why I'm so radical. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, and this is just keeping it 100, like, you know, like some people, they talk about success. Success for people is different things. It could be, you know, socioeconomic status. It could be getting to a certain bag. It could be getting to a certain career, climbing the corporate ladder. That used to be me, bro. For me, success, and I'm keeping it 100, for me, success is what Paul wrote to Timothy before he was executed. If I could say at the end, Cray, if I could say, I fought the good fight, I finished my race, I kept the faith, and now there is a crown that's laid up for me in heaven. I feel like if I can say that, bro, I feel like that is success for me. Because a lot of people start well, but they don't finish well. You know what I'm saying? I want to finish. So for me, what people see in me is me living out what I call a second chance. Yeah. And I want to make good with that second chance. Does that make sense?
It's actually interesting that you said that, because I remember hearing years ago, a minister came into like a Bible college, and it's, a room full of guys and ladies in there, and he says, all of y'all are zealous, all of y'all are passionate for the Lord, but only about 4 or 5 of y'all are gonna be that way in 20 years. And I think that's the reality, is you became one of the ones he was talking about that wasn't that way.
Right, yeah.
And it was like, dang, I'm one of the ones he was talking about. But then God said, no, I'm not done.
I'm not done.
And when somebody says when God says I'm not done, that can put a different kind of fire in your belly.
It did, bro.
You know what I mean?
It did for me. And I think about that a lot. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I don't want to waste my second chance, bro. I want to make good with my second chance. You know what I'm saying? I don't want God to look at me and be like, yo, I'm a disappointment again. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like, and I'm not talking about in terms of like progressive sanctification. We sin, we make mistakes, we repent. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, I know that God pulled me from a very dark place. I know that everything I'm experiencing now I don't deserve, and I want to make good with my second chance. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So nobody not gonna dangle some carrot in front of me, bro. I don't.
God, help us. Help us do our best to honor you with our second chance, God. We all have those moments where, man, like, it could have been this way, but it's not that way. You brought us out of what we're going through, and you love us so much. God, help us not squander and take advantage of the second chance, God. So I give you glory, honor, and praise. Again, just a little mini prayer, God, I'm going to have right now, God, because you're just so great and you're amazing. So help us not squander our second chance, God. Give us the trust and the desire, the passion, God, the zeal to just be close to you every day and trust you for our second chance, God. Amen. Amen. I just want to do that real quick because I feel like we don't understand. Like, this is huge, guys. This is huge. It's huge. This is a big moment in his life. Like, he knew, yo, I really can't mess up like this again. Like, it can't happen. Things happen, life happens. We sin here and we sin. We're sinners, guys. We're gonna always mess up in some way. But like he said, yo, I can't have something like this happening again. It just can't happen again. This is my second chance to grow, to get better, to trust God for my future and my present. And he took that chance seriously, and he locked in. So this is a lesson for us to just know, hey, let's not squander our second chance. Can't do it.
I don't care about platforms. I would rather be in my prayer room than on a platform. That's a true story, bro. I would rather be in my prayer closet than on a platform. There is no stage I desire to stand on. There's no platform I'm asking God to put me on. I'm not thinking about some certain bag I'm trying to get to. I'm not thinking about those things, bro. I just want to finish well and use my life to be as faithful as possible with every post, every sermon, every podcast, to turn as many people towards Christ as possible. And if I could do that and finish, bro, I feel like I made good with my second chance. Like, my crown is that's the reward I'm looking for, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
From the outside looking in, I'm giving the outside looking in perspective. I'm curious to get your perspective of what you feel like the Lord is doing. Yeah. From the outside, I like hearing your story. You know, coming from Queens, being on the block. Yeah. You already grew up with a certain level of intensity. You know, it's a million people in the city. Yeah. And there's a level of intensity that you gotta be aggressive in some sense. And first of all, New Yorkers are aggressive in general.
We are,
That's
bro.
just y'all.
I take hell for that in the South.
So it's
take help for that in the South, bro.
It's like I seen a dude in the airport one time. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? And cause I thought he was waving at me. I'm like, I'm in New York. I'm like, what's up? He waves. I'm waving back. He's like, yo, I ain't talking to you, B. Yeah. I'm like, oh my. My bad. My bad.
Don't look somebody in the eye. Don't step on my kicks. Right? Like no eye, no hold the door for you. None of that, bro.
Right.
Don't bump my shoulder.
None of that.
Yeah.
So there's already like, that's just the culture.
Yeah.
Right? So I think some people from the outside looking in don't realize there's a cultural element. Yeah. Also, your family is from the West Indies.
100%.
So that's you double aggressive.
Double, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Double intense.
Yeah.
In terms of like intensity. And then you add the things that you've experienced and been through. And I just feel like you dealing with a person who ain't got no time to play.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like when from the outside looking in. It's like, I don't got no time to play. Like,
that's how I feel, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes, like I told you the story, man. Like how I had to get a public apology when I used the D word in the pulpit. You know what I'm saying? I said, I don't know if I could say it on the podcast, bro, but
I don't want you to catch no flack again.
Yeah.
But we know what
I said on the pulpit.
Yeah.
And that's just normal language in New York. B.
It's in the Bible.
Yeah, it's a normal language. Yeah. And I had to give a whole apology for
I don't know, what was the word? Do y'all know what the word was? What was the word? What was the word? I want to know the word. What was the word? It could have been either. It's probably damn. It's probably damn. It's probably damn because I don't think anything else would make sense in the Bible. In the Bible, the D word. It's not the DIC. No, it's not that. Can't say that out here. It's definitely got to be. It's probably damn. But is it that serious? Like. This is why, bro. I don't know, man. It just gets annoying. Like, is it really that serious? It's saying I don't know what the word was. It's probably damn, and if it is damn, it is not that serious, in my opinion. It's not. Relax. Like, I mean, I get it, and it's the pulpit. Maybe it's the pulpit. You're on the stage. I mean, I'm not saying you should say it, but I don't think it's a big deal. Oh, he said if I don't know if I think it's damn. Oh my God, like all right, like he messed up this little word. Like relax. I feel people just overreacted to the dumbest things, bro. I don't know. It's just like relax, bro. He said the word. Is that even a bad word? Like, is it considered a curse word? Damn, like. I don't know. I don't say that word, but I'm saying like, is it like a big deal? Like, okay, he messed up and said that word in the pulpit. He didn't say S. He didn't say F. He didn't say anything crazy. He said, I don't know, man. The D word? Was it damn? I don't know. Let me look it up real quick, and if I find it for y'all, it was. He said damned, that someone who will be damned in the afterlife, which isn't. Is it really that big of a deal, bro? Damned, like relax. Like people annoy me. It isn't that serious. It really isn't that serious, bro. Okay, cool. He said damned. Golly, like relax. Please relax. It's not that serious.
And I understand that, bro, but it's like being in the South, people, I'm seen as overly aggressive and all of that. I feel like for me though, bro, it's like God, when he saved me, he didn't change my nature. He just redeemed it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like God just redeemed. I was always aggressive. I was always loud. I was always talking in spaces. Insane. I was always taking over.
He didn't change my nature. He redeemed it. Wow. Wow, sir. That was tough. That was lit. He didn't change my nature. He redeemed it. Ooh, it's a bar. It's a bar.
Over rooms with my mouth. I was always like that, bro. And I think what God did when he saved me, he just redeemed my nature. He didn't change it. He just redeemed it in a sense, right? And then for me, bro, you and I, we in our 40s. We talked about this before off the pod, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? We older now. We're more mature now. You know what I'm saying? We're not jitterbugs on the block no more. You know what I'm saying? By the time you get to where we at, you're kind of thinking about, like you and I talked about this when we was having breakfast that time, like, what have we done up until this point? You know what I'm saying? Like when you had your pivotal turn. Yeah. I remember when you and I first went to the coffee shop. I remember we was talking at the coffee shop. And when you was talking to me, I was like, dang, like, bro, I think people misunderstand Cray. Because you was telling me stuff you said you ain't never put out on a song. And I was like, remember I was saying like, yo, Cray, you need to put that in a book, B. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like people misunderstand you. And some of the stuff you was telling me, I was like, man, I've never heard you talk about this in a song. I never heard you talk about this on any platform. And now that I go back and and listen to some of your songs, like especially that All Things Work in Common, like that album right there, there's things I understand better about that album after you and I had a conversation in private.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they listen to the song, but they don't understand what you went through. They don't understand what you was going through, right?
Right.
So when you think about what you survived, what you went through, what I survived, when we was talking about that in private, and then we in our 40s, it's kind of like we don't even know how much time we got left, B. You know what I'm saying? Like, if God gave you and I 10, we're already halfway through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't really have a lot of time to waste. Not to mention that the writer said, like, in the Psalms, this is a powerful prayer, yo. Like, Lord, teach us to number our days. Like, why would you pray that? You're praying that so I don't waste the time that I have. Like, we tell people, like, everybody focused on money, like, but one of the most important commodities we have, bro, is time. We didn't even know how much we got left. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, one of the things I say often is like, yo, time is running out, B. You know what I'm saying? Time is running out. The Lord is going to return soon. And you think about, like, yo, peep this, how in the first century, brothers like Paul, James, Jude, like these men were preaching like the Lord was about to return next week. They preaching with intensity in the first century. I mean, they 20 years removed from the Lord. John, man, even when he's an old man, these people 30 years removed, 20 years removed, 5 years removed, and they're preaching with a type of intensity like the Lord is coming back. We 2 millennia removed. So should we not be preaching with more intensity, bro? That's why when I say, like, it's not just a slogan, B, it's truth. Time is running out. We got less time than we do now than they did in the first century. So how they preaching with intensity in the first century?
Yeah.
We closer to his return and we got more apathy. More lethargy, we got more indifference. No, should we not be more intense in terms of reminding people that time is running out? So for me, it's kind of like,
that's so, I'm not gonna curse. That's so true, bro. Time is running out, and people, me, Micah John, like, time's running out, bro. We don't got time to waste in trying to mince words and make the Bible sound appealing and sound sexy. Oh, look, no, bro, it's rough out here, bro. Like, if you don't get right, you're gonna die. Like that's it. Like I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, we're trying to spoon feed people too much, and I get it. We gotta make it, you know, make it understandable and make it super edifying and make it make sense. But man, at some point, either you have faith or you don't have faith in him. And if you don't have faith in Jesus, it's not some like, oh, well, boom, 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 and mince words, and no, you're gonna go to hell. And that's it. There's no like, okay, well, hey man, I love you. I still love you. I'm praying for you. But it's true, man. Like, we're getting closer and closer to Christ coming back, and we're getting softer and softer in our approach. No, there's no way, bro. Like, he's coming back. People's lives are at stake, and Christians are being soft. We're being soft. We're trying to make it appealing. Oh, come to our church. Come to the bum. No, if you don't accept Christ in your life, you will perish in hell. It's serious stuff. It's not come to my small group, let's have fun. No, it's, yo, I love you so much that, yes, I love you, and I want to be as for you as I can. But if you don't accept Jesus in your life, it's not going to end well for you. And we're out here preaching soft, bro. And I appreciate Pastor Mitchell preaching no, it's not soft out here. No. Time's running out. And if we as people, including myself and every Christian, if we don't continue to have a sense of urgency and live right, it's cooked, bro. It's cooked. Like, it's, oh my God. I love that I love that someone is speaking and preaching truth, bro. Truth, like, yo, if we don't get right, we're done. It's over. So I love it, bro. I love it.
Like, in our 40s, like, I don't know how much time I got left. The Lord know I don't. So I don't want to waste my days, bro. Yeah. I want my days to count. So I want it to count in terms of what I'm doing with my family, what I'm doing with my wife, what I'm doing with ministry. And I want every post to matter. Yeah. Like, I want my days to count. I don't want to just be wasting time doing stuff that's not going to matter. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it 10,000%.
Yeah.
I do want to I'm curious how you address, because you got a lot of young millennials and Gen Zs.
All millennials and Gen Zs.
Right?
Yeah.
And you and I know that the mountaintop experience is not the Christian experience.
Bro, come on, man.
Right? It's more valleys
Bro, come on, bro.
than mountaintops in this journey.
Come on, bro.
But when you get a lot of those young individuals in there, and they on fire and they hear you speaking and they hear the word of God coming forward. A lot of them have youthful idealism and they gonna kick open the doors and go crazy. How do you teach them or encourage them to like, yo, you can't do this on adrenaline?
Yeah, bro, I think that's a powerful question. And I think that's a powerful question for the times we're living in, right? So you and I know that we're living in a generation that's hyper ambitious, right? Not only we live in a generation that's radically individualistic, but we're also living in a generation that's hyper ambitious. So we live in a time when the generation that I lead is like, you get a revelation from God on Monday, you trying to carry that out on Friday. Like we try to go from a
Oh my God. It's so true. And I'm a victim of that, bro. Like, oh, it's so good. So like we really think that God's timing is our timing, and it's not our timing, guys. God's timing is not, it's so different from what we think. Like, it's so true, bro. Like, getting a revelation on Monday and think it's gonna come up on Friday, bro. No, some things just take mad time. Like, there are things that I prayed for. I prayed about a thing for almost 2 years, guys, and it didn't happen until like the third year. Like, and it was God. I felt God's voice the first time I heard it. I'm like, God, I'm feeling this nudge from you. I feel this calling. I feel it. And he's like, yo, it's not time yet. I'm like, God, I'm praying. I'm feeling it. I'm hearing you. He's like, yo, it's not time. Not until like the second or third year of me praying about this thing that it happened at the perfect time. I'm like, yo, but it's true. Like we this generation, and me included, because I'm involved in this, are so impatient and don't express like patience to God. Yo, like, okay, God, I'm gonna hear you, but I'm gonna wait on your voice, on your perfect timing. And it's hard, but it's true. This era is so me, now, and there's no patience. There's no virtues. There's just no listening and being actually led every step by God. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Word from the Lord and skip process to putting things into fruition. And so when I think about like the demographic I lead, thousands of them, the majority of people in our church, you already know, medium age 25, mostly millennials and Gen Zs. They are of the first generation that have access to so much information. Watch this. We got so many windows into everybody's lives. So we seeing people on mountaintops who have been in process for 10 years, 20 years. And then we seeing that. I think we want that same fruit in 5 years what it took somebody else 10, 15 years to get. And so with that hyper ambition.
Jeez, yo, Philip, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Anthony, you're talking, bro. You're talking, bro. And I'm a victim of this same thing. You're talking, bro. You're talking. All we see is mountaintops and success, but we don't see the 15 years of grind that someone has to go through to get to that mountaintop, bro. And it's not easy. And we just want we just want the dessert with no substantial food, and we just want, oh, I want this. No, there's a whole thing happening, process. Like, it's, oh, geez, help us.
And I try to encourage as many people around me as possible is that process is very important, right? And that a lot of y'all are asking for things you don't have the character to sustain.
Sheesh.
You don't have, watch this, you don't have the scars to sustain. You haven't fought enough battles to sustain.
Hold up.
And then you see mountaintops, things you don't. So with that hyper ambition, I try to encourage as many people around me as possible is that process is very important, right? And that a lot of y'all are asking for things you don't have the character to sustain.
Sheesh.
You don't have, watch this, you don't have the scars to sustain. You haven't fought enough battles to sustain. And then you see mountaintops, but you don't see the valley on the backside of that mountaintop. So it's even like right now, you and I was talking about this before the pod started, right? Like, whatever's happening for us right now, like people, whatever's happening, I don't see all the stuff that people are seeing, but people tell me, oh, we saw you on this, we saw you here. I don't see all of that. Whatever's happening for us right now, people talk like all of this just happened overnight. Bro, I've been pastoring for 12 years. But it's only now in the 12th year that anybody know I exist.
Sheesh.
You see what I'm saying? I've been preaching for 12 years, bro. And so that's not an overnight thing, bro. It may look overnight to some people, but it's not overnight to me. Yeah, I ain't see 12 years of tears. You ain't see 12 years of betrayals. You ain't see 12 years of pain, 12 years of suffering, 12 years of loss. You ain't see 12 years of devastation, 12 years of dealing with hopelessness, depression. Can we keep it real?
Keep it a stack.
Preaching with depression, feeling suicidal, wanting to quit. Nobody ain't seen that dark time. You just see mountaintops, right? And so I'm trying to encourage people to say it's process, bro. Yeah. I feel like some of God's goodness is to tell you wait. It's like you asking God for stuff that you don't have the character for, you don't have the weapons for, you don't have the experience for, and then it's His love to make you wait. That's like you and I got kids. That's like one of our young kids asking us for a car, and you 10. I got the means to give you that car, but if I give you that car at 10, you're gonna kill yourself. Now you come back and ask me for that car at 17, you're a little bit more mature. You can handle.
Oh my gosh. Yo. Oh. Jeez Louise. Can we just let that marinate? Just let it marinate in you. Just let it marinate in your spirit. Come on. Just let it marinate. Just let it marinate. Receive it. Receive it. Receive that. I receive that, God. I receive that, Jesus. I receive that. I receive that. Come on. In your home right now. Close your eyes and receive that God has a process for you. See, we always focus on plans. Oh, God has a plan for me. God has a plan for me. No. What if the prayer is, God, I thank you for the process you have for me. Oh, oh my geez. We want the plan so bad, we skip the process. God, I thank you for the process you have for me, not just the plan you have for me. God, I thank you for the process you have for me. And honestly, guys, I hate process. I'm not a process guy. I don't love it. But God, help me do a better job of accepting the process you have for me, not just the plan and purpose you have for me. Because there's no purpose and plan without process. Jesus, help me
handle that. And I think this generation would do itself good if we get delivered from being hyper ambitious and we focus more on the walk with the Lord. And we stop seeing all these things as the reward. Like I remind my church as often as I can, and this is boring, Craig. This is boring. Watch. Christ is the reward. He is the reward, bro. Not the bag, not the mountaintop, not a mega church, not the followers. No. Because you know what I learned? You can have hundreds of thousands of followers and still be empty. You can I keep it real?
Please.
You can pastor a mega church and still deal with brokenness and still realize, watch this. Oh snap. You got thousands of people at your church, and I need Jesus more now than ever before. I'm more acquainted with my brokenness now than ever before. I realize. Well, I know you've learned this because you've been in the public life for over a decade, bro. Like, yo, you get to all these mountaintops. And then you look over and all you see is another valley.
Yep.
And you realize it's not all what people made it out to be, bro.
Yep.
You don't see the backside of blessing.
Yep.
You see more eyes on you, more arrows on you, more people you're responsible for, more problems.
Oh my God. What is this? Ninja? What? Yo, that's a bar, guys. This man just said, no. He said, more eyes on you, more arrows on you. That is a bar. Drop the mic. I can do that. Yo, can we just appreciate that that God in the spirit is speaking through this man crazy right now, bro? Crazy. More eyes on you, more arrows on you. That is insane, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, new levels, bro. New levels. Man, new levels, new devils. New levels, new devils. More eyes, more arrows. That is so tough, bro. He's talking today.
You know, bigger ministry, more moving parts. It's like people don't see that stuff. Yeah. So you got like, and this is why I could probably get in trouble for saying this, bro. This is why, like,
say it.
Fed up in our country with all like the church growth conferences. Some of them may have a place, but I feel like a lot of young pastors go to stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get all of these handles from mega church
How to grow
pastors.
your church.
How to grow your church. If you just do these 3 things, your church will grow into the thousands. If you do these 8 things, your church, and you're not taking into account God's sovereignty, you're not taking into account the heart of that leader, you're not taking into account God's perfect will, then you leave from these things. And a lot of these men drive home with books full of notes. You're insecure, you're jealous, you're covetous, and then you're going to go home and put all that into practice and try to twist God's arm into giving you what you desire without process, without dealing with your heart. You
And
know
that
what
may
I'm
not
saying?
be what he wants.
And it may not be for what. And I think that we should talk more about health than just growth. Instead of talking church growth, let's talk church health. Let's talk about the health of the leader. Let's talk about the purity of your heart. Let's talk about how you're dealing with your sin. Let's talk about your purpose for preaching. Let's talk about fidelity to the text. Let's talk about your motivation for any platform that you're on. Why don't we have conferences about that, Craig? You know why? That stuff is boring.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to pay to hear about that.
Right.
But I feel like that's what we need to be talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to come to a conference. We're talking about purity, bro.
So guys, I'm engaged. I'm engaged to be married. Getting married in the fall, October of this year. Amazing. I'm so blessed. I'm also a young man who's a Christian who loves God so much, who tries to love him more every day, who's not perfect but loves him a lot. And it's hard. It's hard being a young man. And you know, me and my fiance have very strict rules and boundaries on what we should or shouldn't do physically, what we can and can't do. We're very on top of it for the most part, for sure. And it's very hard. It's difficult. And I think I know why it is. I know why it's hard. I know why it's difficult. I know why God's doing it this way. I know that there's so much fruit that comes from what we're trying to do and doing it God's way. There's so much fruit on the back end. There's so much amazing fruit from this season. But also, truth is, man, like God uses things like this to really prune us and prepare us for the blessing. Like, honestly, who knows? Like, yo, if God gave me sex right now, like, how would I deal with it? Like, would I be ready to deal with it? Would I be ready to really honor it in the best way? Who knows? I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm not saying God said I wouldn't, but I'm saying, like, we got to see process and things happening as of God saying, yo, like, I love you so much. I'm letting you wait and go through this. Like, and we don't see it that way. And it's hard. I don't always accept it. I'm not always positive about it, but it's true. God does things in his perfect time. So we are ready to accept it and really honor it in the best way that we can. And it's just, man, God is so good, bro.
I feel like every day there's a conference teaching people how to kill a bear.
Come on.
Every day it's another conference of this is how you kill a bear. This is how you kill a bear. And then I'm like, but if all y'all at the conference learning how to kill a bear, who killing bears? You know what I'm saying? And I think you just out there killing bears and you unapologetic and people don't like you for that.
Yeah, I know.
Because and this, I do want you to speak to this though, because I think it's healthy for some folks who may have you a little twisted.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was even having a conversation with one of my boys about it because he had some questions and I was like, I think you might have it twisted. Some people may say it's self-righteous to say that these pastors are doing it wrong because what it implies is that you're the only one doing it right.
Yeah.
How would you address that?
Yeah, so I don't, first things first, a lot of the things I say about errors in pastoral ministry, I implicate my own self. First things first. If anybody will be honest before you critique me and judge me and listen to my preaching, don't just listen to a clip. Go watch a sermon or two. You will hear me implicating my own self. I talk about my own sin, my own struggles, my own failures. I air my own laundry from the pulpit. I don't shy away from that. I do that on purpose. I tell people, don't make me an idol. And I'm the first one to talk about my own brokenness from the pulpit so that people do not think that my preaching is from a place of self-righteousness. My preaching is more from a place of brokenness.
Yeah.
That's number one. I implicate my own self. Number two, there are things I say about errors in pastoral ministry, and I also say I've made the same mistakes. And my preaching sometimes is misinterpreted for talking down to pastors. It's not me talking down to pastors. My heart crate, dang, boy, I'm about to cry.
You good, man. You good, fam.
My bad, bro.
You good, fam. Don't apologize.
My heart, bro, is not to talk down to them, bro. My heart is to pull them out of the foolishness that I felt like I spent 10 years doing, bro. 2819 it will be 2 years old. 2819 was founded on January 2023. In January, we'll be 2 years old, bro. It's only in the last 2 years what God has wrung out of me, bro. It's all of the vanity. All of the foolishness that was in my heart. All of the things I was praying for that was materialistic and fleshly. All of the conferences I kept going to that's making me salivate to have. I want to be a mega church pastor. I want to have thousands of people. I want to have a big Instagram following. I want to have...
Yo, I love how real he is, bro. He's being real. Like, we need realness. Like, real. This guy's being real, bro. He's speaking facts and truth. He's being real, bro. This is what we need.
All these things I kept doing, and people don't realize it's so undercover. You go into these conferences, you go to all these things, and you don't even realize you leave with all of these desires, B, that are actually very worldly and materialistic. I have never, in 10 years of pastoral ministry before 2019 was founded, ever been to a conference when they're talking about purity. When they was talking about wringing out your heart from sin. When they was talking about how you get down in private, or the congruence between what you preach on a platform and how you live and nobody don't see. I ain't never in 10 years been to a conference that talk like that. You hear what I'm saying? I know what it is to keep going in and out of these rooms and coming out insecure, jealous, covetous, and my heart full of materialism, bro. So when I talk like this, if somebody gonna listen to me talk and say he's self-righteous, then if that's their perspective of me, I can't change that. I'm just saying right here on this podcast, right here on the deep end, B, that's not my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I would say to this camera, anybody watching, that's not my heart. My heart is, I know the pain of a decade of pastoring with vanity in my heart and praying things that was vain. Even when I thought I was doing it right, not realizing, looking back, that was vain. And what I'm trying to do by talking like that is call out error, because we should, and do my best to help other pastors to see that we need to come out of all of that mess. You see what I'm saying? We need to come out of that so we can be the shepherds that Jesus can trust with his flock. I feel like, why can't we hear the Spirit of God beckoning to the shepherds in America? You know what I'm saying? Y'all are the ones leading my people astray. We. Like I get frustrated with people that's always pointing at the devil and blaming the devil for all the mess in the church. Does the devil have inroads in the church? Yes. But Cray, the greatest threat to the American church is the American pulpit, B. It's not... Like we were just talking about, the gates of hell is not going to prevail.
That's right.
It's the American pulpit. It's us, B.
Yeah.
I said this in the beginning of this year. Woo. It's us, me. It's Philip Anthony Mitchell and all of the pastors. It's our preaching. It's all of our materialistic, our secular humanistic doctrines, our prosperity, all this stuff that is leading people's hearts astray. We are the ones that's hurting God's sheep, not the devil. We are, B.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls me self-righteous, I won't defend myself. I would say, go listen to my preaching. Don't call me that from a clip, bro.
Yeah.
Go listen to the body of my work and see, do you hear a man that's self-righteous, or do you hear a man that is broken? Do you hear a man that has made a ton of mistakes? And do you hear a man that is beckoning to a country, to the American church? We got to come out of this nonsense. That's not me saying I'm better than every other pastor. This is me saying my brothers. You see what I'm saying? All of my brothers, all of my sisters who are proclaimers of the gospel, yo. Can we go back to the scriptures? Can we go back to what Jesus told us? Can we go back to the Great Commission? Can we go back to fidelity to the word? Can we go back to exegesis and not eisegesis? And can we stop blaming the devil? And can we take ownership for our own mess? Bro, have you now? I'm speaking for me.
Yeah.
How many conferences have you been to when they're talking about the purity of the heart, wringing out sin, congruence between what you do on the platform with? Like you don't go to conferences and hear about that. Not a whole lot,
especially not within the black community.
Not in our context. You don't hear that, bro.
Especially not in
you
the
always
black
hear
church.
8 steps 2, 5 steps 2, this metric 4. But
Bookstore is less about God, more about centering self.
You feel what I'm saying? So can I say this right here on the podcast? Yo, if anybody's watching this podcast and you have been offended at my preaching, if you're a pastor and you're watching this and you have been offended at my preaching, if I've come off as self-righteous and pharisaical, and if I've hurt you, listen, I apologize. Is this my camera?
Yeah.
I apologize to you. I can own that. If my tone has made you misinterpret my heart, I apologize. I can own that. Hear me. I'm saying it right here on the deep end. It is not my heart to be self-righteous. And when I am self-righteous, trust me, I'm wringing that out in my prayer time. When I do feel myself a little bit, I'm going to go wring that out in my prayer time. When I'm feeling prideful and arrogant, I'm going to go wring that out. But if I have hurt you or wounded you, I apologize. That's not my heart. My heart is to help as many pastors as possible. If God would give me the opportunity to just come out of the foolishness I was in for the decade, bro.
You sound burdened. Like, that's what I hear. I hear a man who's burdened.
Bro, if I had, like, I'm telling you honestly, bro, I don't pray to preach on any platforms in this country. I don't ask God for no platforms. But there is one platform I have asked God for, and this was just in the last couple months, and I've said to the Lord, if there is a platform I would like to stand on, it would just be to have an opportunity to be in a room with as many pastors from this nation as possible and just give me 2 hours to just talk to them from my heart. No fluff, no frills. Just give me 2 hours to talk to them with the hopes that as many as possible would leave that room and that there would be a radical shift in the context of what we're doing in America. If there's any platform I would want to be, it would only be that. But I'm not asking God for no other platforms.
Let me tell you something though.
That's good.
As you say that, because as you say this is what I'm and
It's just you and me, Bree.
Maybe this the spirit. I don't know.
Yeah.
As you say that,
well, it's not just you and me. It's a whole.
But I think of the book of Judges.
Yeah.
I think of so many times in Scripture where someone was pleading for Israel to turn, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't happen, and God had to be like, yo, they not gonna do it. But what is happening is a different remnant, something else being raised up.
Yeah.
And that's what I see from the outside looking in. You don't realize you already are speaking to a room full of pastors. They just haven't been ordained yet. They haven't taken the pastorate yet. There's a whole generation of millennial and Gen Z leaders and pastors who are going to grow up being fed off of the words that are coming out of your mouth. And they're going to go forward in the future. But there's too many leaders who currently covet their platform, their status, their position to let it go. It's Saul saying, nah, you can't be king. And I'm not letting it go. But God will not be mocked. He won't be stopped. And so, bro.
You know what's so powerful about what you're saying, bro? I'm getting goosebumps as you're talking, bro. Yo, bro, as you're talking right now, that's so profound, what you just said. What you just said is so profound. You know what's the first thing I thought about? I'm reminded of this passage I preached at the Acts conference, Isaiah chapter 6, right? When I was at the Acts conference, I preached this passage, Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 through 8, when Isaiah has this theophany where he sees the pre-incarnate Christ in all of his glory. He recognizes that Christ was holy. We know it's Christ because when he says he saw the Lord, it's capital L, lowercase O-R-D, which is Adonai. So he sees the Lord, the pre-incarnate Christ, 700 years before he's born in Bethlehem. And he recognizes that Christ is holy. Now peep this, bro. He recognizes Christ is holy. And in that recognition of the holiness of Christ, that revelation of the holiness of Christ, what does Isaiah's response be? He's broken over his own sin. He's broken over the sins of the nation. And he does not ask God for anything, not for a platform, not for a bag, not for anything. He just sits there in his brokenness. He hears the counsel of heaven, God saying, who can we send? Isaiah responds, here I am, or here am I, depending on which translation you use. But he offers himself and puts his life on the altar. And he says, send me, which I feel is actually a picture of salvation, how he's burned in the lips. It's an act of atonement. And his only response to his atonement is a life lived out in full surrender, which I say is the only response to the cross, is a life lived out in full surrender. Now watch this. That passage has been preached before, Cray. I'm not the first person to preach that passage, but you know what people don't preach? They don't preach the back half of Isaiah 6. Because after that, you know what happens in Isaiah 6? From chapter 9, from verse 9 to the end of the chapter, God tells him, now that I got your attention, watch, go out and make these people's heart dull, make their ears deaf, make their eyes blind. So you know what he's telling them? Go preach the hard truth. And as you do that, you're going to separate those who are really hungry from those who are fake. You're going to separate those who want to repent from those. Go out and preach this hard truth. And when Isaiah realized how tough the message is, he asked the Lord a question. He says, how long am I supposed to do that, oh Lord? Peep. Then the Lord says, you going to preach like that until, let me just paraphrase the Philip Anthony Mitchell translation.
Yeah, for sure.
Until I have brought judgment, until the land lays bare, until all has been destroyed, until everything has been chopped down, watch, and only a remnant remains. That's what God says, a tenth.
That's so good.
I want you to preach hard truth, whether people like it or not, until I have raised up my remnant from that truth. Now, this is the passage God gave me when I had that encounter with God in Israel. You and I talked about this. When I had that encounter with God in Israel in December 2018, that changed my life at the Garden Tomb. God gave me that passage as a model for my life. This is what I want you to go back and do. I feel like God burned me in my mouth in Israel. He burned my heart in Israel. He stripped me of my sense of importance and all this other stuff. I was there arriving in a sense of seeing God's glory and his holiness for the first time. And God sent me back to this nation with a mandate to preach like Isaiah preached, whether people like it or not. And you're going to do this until the remnant has been raised up. So if you don't understand that part of my story, you can judge me for my preaching and say I'm over the top and all that, but you don't know what God told me to do. And at the end, I'm not going to give an account for the one that's throwing darts at me, bro. I'm going to give an account to the one that gave me a charge. The Lord charged me in Israel, and I'm going to have to give an account for that charge. And so whether some like me and some do not, and I pray for my enemies that they would either be saved, won over, or they drop their weapons. But even if they don't drop their weapons, bro, I got to be faithful to what I know God told me to do when I was in Israel, and to do that until the remnant is raised. And for people who think I'm on this for the first time, bro, if somebody go back and watch what I was preaching 5 years ago when nobody knew who I was. Matter of fact, I'm going to post this on my Instagram. I'm going to go post a clip from me when I was preaching 5 years. I was preaching like this. You hear what I'm saying? I was preaching like this 5 years ago when I came back from Israel. The first sermon series I ever preached coming back from Israel was a message about the holiness of God. And I preached about the holiness of God for 2 straight months.
God just decided to breathe.
Does that make sense?
I think he decided to breathe in this season. The interesting thing for me, and I want to talk about Israel a little bit too, but the interesting thing for me as I sit and listen to you is that I think that we often, as people who have heard from the Lord, we often stop paying attention to those who God has entrusted us to speak to.
Yeah.
Because Satan comes as an accuser,
Yeah.
and as a distractor.
Yeah.
And that's my prayer for your whole church.
Yeah.
Because you can't be on the offense for the kingdom and not expect attack. I'm gonna take another little left turn.
Yo, this is dope, B. I like the conversation. Yo.
Yeah. I'm gonna take another left turn because now I got to hang with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got a sense of humor. You're a real human being. And
People don't know that though.
That's what I was gonna say.
They don't know that though, B.
In my early career, like, my songs were very didactic.
I remember.
Right?
I
So
remember.
you heard a lot of orthodoxy.
Yeah.
As I grew, you heard orthopraxy.
Yeah.
This stage of my life, you hear orthopathy.
Yeah.
I'm showing you the emotion,
Yeah, bro.
of biblical truth
And evolution of a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think some people would say I left my orthodoxy, which is not the case because they don't hear it as much.
Yeah.
For someone like you, they hear your orthodoxy, right? They hear the truth that you display. I would say they can see the orthopathy because they see like you burdened and your emotions on stage. Orthopraxy, you're preaching to them what to do. I'm curious, like, we see when we look at Jesus as or holy God and holy man, the holy God part, I think, this is a poor example, but I would say if people are looking at Philip Anthony Mitchell, they're like, I see the pastor, but who's the man? Is there a man behind this?
Bro, you know, nobody's ever asked me that before, ever.
Word.
Never, ever. Nobody's ever asked me that, bro. And I just appreciate that question because, like, I feel like, you know how Jesus was like the lion and the lamb? I feel like I'm a lion on the platform because I take proclamation of the gospel serious, and I think we should.
Yeah.
Because the scripture says those of us who proclaim, we should speak as if we're speaking the very words of God. And I feel like if we're speaking on behalf of God, we should take that serious.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean my style is the only style. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we should take the proclamation of God's word serious.
Yeah.
But off the platform, I'm very gentle, bro. People don't know that about me, right? Like you and I, we spend time together outside of, so we laugh. We've chopped it up at breakfast and all that, and cracked jokes and all that. Outside of the platform, I'm a very gentle person. You know what I'm saying? People don't know this, but I got a big sense of humor. Like my wife, one of the reasons she loved me, you could get on the podcast because I make her laugh every day, bro. I'm the funniest person in my house. I like to make my wife laugh because I know she finds joy in laughter. And I like seeing her smile.
Yo, Christians are humans too, bro. It just sucks that historically they think we're just like, you know, boring people with no lives and no humor, and we're just whatever. No, Christians are cool, man. I'm kind of cool. Like, Christians are cool, man. Christians aren't stone-faced. Well, some are, but you know, Christians should be, you know, more Christians should be more gentle and you know, we're just have fun, bro. Life is amazing. Life is good. I think, at least, life is a gift, man. So Christians aren't always stone-faced. Christians aren't always whatever. Christians shouldn't always be super serious. We're humans too. We want to laugh, have fun, enjoy life, enjoy things. Like, and he's showing, hey, like, yes, when it's time to preach the gospel, yo, I'm locked in. I'm no mess, no funny business, no foolishness. I'm locked in. You know what I'm saying? But regular day life with my family, like he said, yo, I'm a vibe. He's cool. He's funny. He's nice. Like, I think Christians put up this like super stone faced, not now, more so back then, super stone faced, like can't have fun in life type of vibe. But no, Christians can have fun, and you don't got to get drunk and party and smoke and do all these things to have fun. You can do other things to have fun in life, and be a Christian. So yeah, he's saying that right now. It's crazy.
And I like watching her laugh, and anytime she's laughing, I feel joy. I crack jokes, bro. I got a friend who used to call me Martin. You know Martin, right? Because I'll crack a joke and not have to, and I could do comedy and not feel like comedy, bro. You put me in a room around people, man. I'll roast somebody. I love the man. I love family. I love being with my kids.
Yeah.
If I had it my way, I would not leave my house. I love being with my family. I love watching TV with my family on Friday night. We do movie night. We got popcorn and candy. I love taking trips with my family. I love hanging out with brothers and sisters who I'm close to in the church.
Yeah.
I love sports. I like to laugh. I like to swim. You know, I like to shoot guns. You know, I like to be in my backyard. I got dogs. Man, I like football and basketball, bro. I am as normal as a ninja could be, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love it. Yes, sir. Say the word, kid. Just say it. Just say it, Pastor Mitchell. Say the... I won't say it. But you'll just say it, bro. Just, you got cool out here. You know what I'm saying? You know, my dog. Just say it, kid. Just say it. Just say the word, kid. Don't worry about it. We won't judge you, kid. Nah, but it's true. It's real. Like, he's a vibe. He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. They're all laughing, bro. He's a cool dude. You know, Christians could be fun too, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's a vibe.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They're about to send DMs.
But I'm saying people don't know that.
Yeah.
People don't know that about,
Yeah,
like, you
I'm
know what I'm
as
saying?
normal as a ninja
I hear
could
Preston
be.
up like, yo, y'all went shooting, y'all didn't holler at your boy.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know what I
Like,
mean? Holler at your boy.
Yeah, we
but
got-
I think that's what the unhealthy criticism comes from people looking at public figures as robots.
Yeah, bro.
And not as humans,
Yeah.
because we're all made in the image of God, and you would see them as people and not like robots. And I love, you said something when you was articulating that. You said you take the pulpit seriously, but you say your style's not the only style.
It's not.
So talk about that a little bit. Like, do you think there's room for anecdotes or like a joke or an analogy or a story?
Absolutely, bro. I think there's room for all of that. And if anybody listen to the body of my preaching, you're going to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people see a lot of clips on social media. I think we got to be careful from just characterizing people based on a 60-second clip.
Come on, man.
Both ways, good or bad.
Yeah.
I think if anybody has sat under my preaching for any amount of time, you will hear a joke every once in a while. I remember one time I was talking about, like, in Matthew chapter 18, right? When Jesus is like, if you receive a child, you receive me. He's talking about if you receive a fellow disciple, right, you receive me. And I remember I was preaching about that, and this was our 1245 gathering. So people in 8 and 10 didn't get this. So I'm like, yeah, and that's like us going to Starbucks, and you're sitting there with your girlfriend, and your bundles is tight, and you drink your little ICI refresher, and you got the mango in yours, and it's giving friendship, it's giving coffee cake, it's giving fun, it's giving, and I'm doing this, and I'm having this playful banter, and the room is going crazy in laughter beat. You know what I'm saying? And people don't see that side of me, but it's in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's times when I think there is room for anecdotes, and there is times for stories and having human, or I think there's a place for all of that.
Yeah.
I think it becomes problematic when all of your proclamation is that.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Because I don't see the Lord being a clown.
Yeah.
And I don't see God being a clown. I don't see Paul being a clown. I don't think they were clowns.
And the gathering's not a circus.
It's not. And I think the Lord did have a sense of humor, but I don't think when it comes to proclamation, he was a clown. So yes, there's room for all of that. And I'm not knocking anybody for doing that. You know what I'm saying? That will leak out of me, but that's not going to be the majority of my proclamation, because I'm just a serious person by nature, especially when I go. But for me, when I mount a platform, for me, it's life or death. I see every time I mount a platform, I see that as a window in time, in eternity. That if I don't live past this moment, how did I use this window in time in eternity to point as many people to Christ as possible? For me, preaching is serious business.
Dope convo, guys. It's very long, and I'm not gonna watch all of it. You can finish the last few minutes of it if you need to. I gotta cook some food and get my evening going. But guys, a good hour and change from this amazing, man of God, speaker, teacher, preacher, pastor, Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell, guys. Again, so love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want more of this reaction content, put in the comment section, yo, I want more of this content, and I'll give it to you guys. So love y'all. See you soon. Remember, Christ loves you, so love him back. Peace.